as always, checking on my phone, but that's okay. Oh, no, I can't do that because I need it for the book. Uh, all right. I think everything's looking good, Cleon, on this side. Welcome to Realtors Roundtable, everyone. You have the distinct pleasure of being here with myself, Carmellita Turner, the realest realtor and my dear, dear colleague, Cleon Smith. And we are here for another. Actually, Cleon, this is our last Thursday in
For
September.
September.
Yes, this is our last Thursday. So, but that's okay. We're bringing the fire today. Oh, we
Okay,
are bringing the fire
let's do it.
today. Yes, I'm surprised. This month has gone by so fast, folks. This has been my birthday month. And I don't know, what it is about those milestone birthdays, Cleon, but I tell you what, 50 has made me a whole different character. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was 50. Maybe it's something that was always in me all along. Who really knows, right? Who
It
really
has to do
knows?
with the new, I guess, 2020. It's also the autumnal equinox. So the all the line, all the
True.
energies and sun and moon and stars are all lining up. So
All of
all
the
that is
above.
we'll give credit where credit is due.
We will. I take all of that energy. Absolutely. Folks, we are so glad that you are here with us. Please make sure that you come in hitting that thumbs up button for us and hit that share button. Sharing is caring because let me tell you this. There are folks who need to hear this message today, not just you, but maybe someone you know. As a matter of fact, it may be someone you wake up beside every day. So, please make sure that you are sharing this message. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel here on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you will know when we are live and you will not miss any of our content because let me tell you, yeah, it's going to get better and better every single time. So we are excited about that. So just a few housekeeping things. We have been the entire month of September using the book The Black Tax by Shawn Rochester as our focal point of discussion for Realtors Roundtable. And like I said, I gave this gift to myself because I love having wonderful conversation with brilliant people like Cleon, who are also people that I love to call friends, and they are in my same industry. And at the Realtors Roundtable, this is where we come to have discussions and deliberations about topics that impact you. But actually, they also impact us as well. We're not taking ourselves out of that equation. So I think we're living in a time now where you cannot say it enough. We're all in this together. Would you agree, Cleon?
I would. I would, and we are all doing our parts to, to make it better for everyone.
For everybody. We have to. We definitely have to do that. So, without any, and we may have another guest that will hop on with us, folks. So that's fine. Listen, we invite all great minds to this round table, so we have no problems with that at all. So, what we're going to do is we are going to get right into our topic. And so, as always with me, guys, I have to play around with my technology. I apologize for that feedback, but I always want to make sure that I can see your comments and your questions. So, of course, if you have questions, you can put them there in the chat and we will answer them live because we want to make sure that everybody is definitely getting value. And if we don't get to your questions during the live session, because we have a lot on the agenda today. So, if for some reason we don't get to your question live, we will answer it on the actual YouTube page. Okay. So that's where you'll always find links to our contact information. And you can just come back and see the answers there. Okay. All right. So for today, we're going to start off with the black tax. We've been dealing with the pages that specifically talk about real estate. Okay. And so in the book by Shawn Rochester, he talks about, and I'm going to actually pull up my pages because I like to quote brilliant minds correctly. I don't ever want to be accused of misquoting anyone. So at one point, he was talking about a study, Cleon, that was done by the Economic Policy Institute, and how that study found that Black Americans with a 660 FICO score
Mhm.
were three times more likely to receive a high interest rate on mortgages. So, with that 660 score, them getting a high interest rate that was about 1.5% higher than what they should have received based on that 660 credit score, which you and I know is a very good credit score. That's a solid credit score. While white Americans with a 660 did not have that same dilemma. So, one of the things that I always like to talk about with clients, and with my home buyers class, even if your credit is strong, I like to talk with people kind of about credit, starting with that credit, because we know that credit, unfortunately, moves the tables in many arenas. Not just buying a home, it can, keep you from getting a job. It can make the difference between, you getting certain rates on your insurance, even. And so when you hear statistics like this, that even when we've done all the right things, right? Even when we've gotten our credit to places that are strong and solid and sound, it's documented and proven that we are still extended higher rates than our white counterparts.
And just to close the circle on what you're saying is that 1.5% higher score over the life of that loan. I don't recall the exact figure, but if you take out a mortgage for a certain amount over the 30-year mortgage, you're actually going to be paying, I believe the number was over $100,000 more just in interest
Just an
that
interest.
you are only paying for the fact that you're Black. So, I mean,
Correct.
I
No
don't know
other.
how else to say that. The only reason you're paying $100,000 more in interest over the life of this loan is the tax. You're being taxed.
That's
And
the only
again, that
reason.
1.5% higher rate that you're gonna get, that your counterpart is who is white is not getting, that that's essentially that's what that's essentially what the tax is. So
That's a
that
black
660
tax.
may not mean a lot to you, but when you really look at, okay, if you get a higher interest on your mortgage or on a similar financial product, you're going to be paying more that somebody else is
Yes.
not paying.
That someone else is not paying, with all things equal.
Yeah.
With all things equal, credit score, income levels, all things are equal. And so when we talk about this black tax, it is so important to keep driving the point home. This isn't some emotional or fictional thing that we are referencing. It is an actual calculatable and researched and proven
Mhm.
existence. Okay. And as Cleon pointed out, on a mortgage loan, that has huge ramifications. I don't care if it's on a car loan. I don't care if it's on the insurance that you're paying. These are things that you pay over time. And over time, you are going to always spend more than people who are not black or brown or beige, because of the color of your skin, and because you are levied with this very real black tax. And so I always say that we like to come here with solutions, right? Because we don't want you to think that this is all doom and gloom. It is not. What this part is education. And one of the things that, and I told Cleon today, I'm bringing the fire today. I'm leaving it all on the table when we get off of this. Like, so a lot of you all may be unfollowing me today,
Who
and
sings
that's
that?
fine.
Sorry, who sings that song? Leave it on the floor. And maybe I'm referencing like an old disco beat from.
I love disco. I love that, Cleon. We're gonna leave it on the floor,
Leave it
Cleon.
on the
We're gonna
floor.
leave it on the floor, because when we show up to do these things, and I've said this many weeks before, not just here on Realtors Roundtable, I've said it on the Realist Realtor podcast. I no longer am going to chase people to bless them with knowledge. I'm not going to do it because there there are there's so many competing realities out here, I guess I would say, Cleon. And the reality is, for those of us who are out here spreading this knowledge with solutions, at some point the people who clearly see our integrity, they clearly see our devotion to educating ourselves, right? We have to educate ourselves first before we can help our clients. They will understand, hey, that's somebody I should be doing business with. That's somebody I should reach out to. Oh, I remember seeing Cleon on the Realtors Roundtable. I need to connect with him, right? Like, that's what we show up here to do. So it's greater than just us. We're not out here, so we can post it for the gram or do, no, we're out here to help someone. And if we help one person, it is worth it. So when you hear information like that, we don't want you to feel like, oh, my goodness, well, then what's the point? There's no reason for me to work on your credit. Yes, there is every reason. There is every reason. And as I teach in my home buyers class, we want everybody in that 700 plus club. You know why? Because you don't want any wiggle room. You want to have the strongest credit possible, so that when you see interest rates that don't rest well in your soul, as my grandma used to say, then guess what? Shop it around, baby. Because if that's the best you can do for me, then look, I can find it somewhere else. But I have some solutions toward the end that are going to make real sense. I told Cleon, when I show up with my note cards, y'all know it's going to be fire. So definitely get yourself in the strongest credit position possible. And Cleon, I would say, even to people also, to make sure they educate themselves about what that credit profile is really made up of.
Ab- Absolutely. And the we can do more digging into this, but there was some proposal to actually change how credit score is calculated, and there was some pushback with various government entities and non-government agencies, because the current credit score as it's made up is actually it has desperate impact on our community, and there is a better version of the credit scores out there, but they're delaying implementation. So I would encourage us to, I'm here lobbying as well to push
Good.
for that more inclusive and the better setup or the better approach to credit scores. But definitely, to your point, Carmelita, the components of that credit score is so important. And I go, going back, start with the education. Have you actually pulled down your credit score from all three bureaus to see what is there? Do
Right.
you know what's in your report
Correct.
today? Do you know what's in that report today? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
check your bank account every day, right? You knew somebody put a fraudulent charge on your card. Do
That's
you
right.
know if there's a fraudulent account on your credit score today?
Right. Today.
And
Today.
you have a right to dispute that information. And you also have a right for a free copy of the report every 365. So once a year from each of the
Correct.
bureaus. So I would encourage you, if you've never seen your credit report or if it's been a while, go request from each credit bureau today to see what's there. Let's
Yes.
start there. Let's
Start
start with
there.
what you know. All right.
Absolutely. Start with what you know. And then again, listen, reach out to us. We help in these areas. Now, we, of course, we are not lenders. You don't have to be a lender to know what's on your credit report. You don't have to be a lender to learn more about credit. I can send you 4 of my classes that talk about it. I mean, honestly. So you don't have to already be in a banking arena, so to speak, or but these are things. Hey, listen, we were all born not knowing the English language. Some of us know multiple languages, right? So it's a language that you must learn. But like Cleon said, it's also an arena where you must be mindful of what's happening around you. And how does that happen? Oh, well, let me tell you how. Paying attention to the newspapers, paying attention to the news articles, reading, yeah, reading things, making sure that you are staying up to date. And listen, folks, I know it's a lot of information. So if it feels like it's too much information, because I know some days, Cleon, I feel like it's just so much out here, so much information, right? And some days I seek out other people who, are knowledgeable in certain areas to kind of help me get to the core of the matter. So, like Cleon said, he could really go a lot deeper about that. But, it would just almost probably feel like too much. But if you have specific questions, you make sure you connect with him, because he can tell you about those things that matter. And yes, he is lobbying, because we want you, and I'm rubber stamping him, because we want you all to reach out to us, because these things matter in your life. Listen, we are bringing you real-time solutions that impact the everyday person. These aren't pie in the sky things for the wealthy or for those folks in the 2%. That's not what this is. This is for the everyday person. Things that are so important that I think, and I'm so like I said, I'm leaving it all on the floor. Is that what we're calling it?
Yes, we're
There's
leaving
some
on the
real
floor.
we're leaving it on the floor. There are a lot of realtors out here. They won't even do business with you if your credit is not at a certain point, because they know that you're not ready to do a right now purchase. That's right. I'm calling them out. I'm calling them out, because let me tell you, and for all of you fakers who've been following me for years, make sure you unfollow me, because all this, I know Cleon. I know Cleon knows me well. That's why I love him. So so all of these people for years. I've been in real estate now for almost 11 years. And so many of these agents are always like, oh, well, Carmellita, you shouldn't say that. Or you can't say that you only want to help the Black people. Why not? Why can't I? And let me say this, it doesn't mean that I love anyone any less. That's not at all what that means. It means that I want to help educate the people that look like me, who are the most underrepresented, the most overtaxed, underserved. And you know what's funny, fakers? You know what's funny? Here's how confirmation works. I was just telling Cleon, we are having our. Did you know Invar was 100, Cleon? I didn't know that.
I, I saw that. I thought it was VAR was 100 this year, but maybe.
I think they said Invar. I don't know.
Okay,
Somebody's 100. One
sorry.
of those
Since you're throwing
associations.
out abbreviations that you never mind. This is inside realtor talk.
Inside Realtor Talk. So we pay money. We have to pay money to practice our craft to an association, and one of our associations in Virginia is turning 100. And I guess we were probably maybe members not that whole 100 years. I'm
No,
just putting
we
it
weren't
out there.
allowed to be
We
members.
weren't allowed to be members. That's why the NARAB exists for the realtors. Shout out to NARAB. However, one of the things that's interesting is that while all those fakers were busy telling me not to have these courageous conversations, what a coinky dink. All week, they've been having the conversations that we've been having over here for months. And not only were they having those same conversations, but they were referencing the same information that we bring to you all each and every week. And I have to beat a daggone elephant out of a tree to get people to come over here and listen. I'm sorry, Cleon, but I'm leaving it all on the floor today, because I tell you what, buddy, I am fired up and looking for people who are ready to be blessed. So yes, that is where I am with it right now. Folks, listen, make sure you're hitting those thumbs up button. Make sure you're sharing this, because there's plenty of people that are going to need to hear this fire today. And like I said, if you care, share. And so, yeah, I'm leaving it all on the floor, Cleon. So put your seatbelt on, buddy. Put your seatbelt on. So now we've talked about credit. Cleon has clearly told you that we know credit scores are restrictive. That's the word I'll use, Cleon, restrictive. We know that there are better, less subjective, I will even say, Cleon, and you can counter me if you think that's off, less subjective modes of looking at credit. And we know that unfortunately, credit, people use it to tell a tale. To tell a tale, so that is definitely important. But getting into that 700 club plus is pivotal. But then let's move on, because this is really the point, where I want to drop more nuggets and bring more fire. So Shawn Rochester, in his book The Black Tax, if you all don't have that book, make sure you pick it up. You need to read it and really see the actual numbers across all industries and all aspects of your life. Um, as a Black person that are impacted. He brings the numbers, he brings the receipts. He's a great mind that has calculated this, and it's mind-boggling. So also in the book, Shawn Rochester was talking about the banking system, the banks, right? And so he gave some real life, realist realtor, real life examples of where there have just been savage debauchery in the banking industry. He started off with the Bank of America. So he said that these banks have been sued. Bank of America paid out $335 million to settle a lawsuit where they overcharged. Here we go, people. 200,000 minority borrowers with higher interest rates and fees compared to whites with the same daggone credit score. 200,000 people that they overcharged. Do you think that was an accident? I say no. I say no. There's no way. And well, let me ask you this, Cleon. When do most people want to settle out of court? In your opinion, when do most people want to settle out of court?
I mean, in
In
before,
the legal world, why is it that more people want to settle out of court?
because they get more money.
They definitely get more money, but the person being sued doesn't have all their garbage on display,
Oh, we know that. That's why the
right?
banks always settle,
That's why they settle.
because
Because guess what? Had they gone to court, they probably would have paid even more money. They paid enough. I mean, what was the figure? 335 million.
yeah,
So when you think about that number, and that
that's
probably
yeah, that's pennies on the dollar.
pennies,
How much would if you
pennies,
pull Bank of America's quarterly earnings, you'll see that is just pennies on the dollar for them.
pennies on the dollar. But I'm gonna tell you how gangster they are. This is how gangster they are. They with the second example Shawn Rochester gave of Wells Fargo. Yeah, we're going in on Wells Fargo next. Wells Fargo, they paid out 175 million to settle, again, pennies on the dollar. Supposedly they only, this suit was only for 30 million minority borrowers. And let me tell you guys something about class action suits. They have to find the people to be a part of these class action suits. Do I really feel in my soul that Wells Fargo only cheated 30,000 minorities? Miss me with that BS. It was probably many more than that. But it was, you have to pull all these people together to become part of this class action suit. But look, they gave incentives to their banking loan officers to get blacks into these subprime loans. Incentives.
Can I say something
Help
about that?
yourself.
So oftentimes you'll hear that Wells Fargo has a special loan program for certain communities, right? And you say, oh, Wells Fargo, they'll advertise, oh, we have a $300 million fund to help home ownership in the Chicago area, this area. What you don't know is many times they're forced by some of these settlement to set up those funds because of bad deeds. So
Bad
think
deeds.
about it. You as a borrower are going to get a mortgage from Wells Fargo using money that they've been forced because they cheated your grandmother, your aunt, or people in your community. So it's kind of I always have an issue with these types of programs because essentially they're using I don't know if I want to be profiting, from the deeds of, bad deeds from these banks. I'm not saying you shouldn't do business with it. I'm just saying when you hear of those special programs that some of these banks are doing, I would look a little deeper into how these programs were created because oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes they're a result of these settlements that they've had to do to set aside money because they've mistreated this one community in the past. They've had to set aside money to lend them. So again, Wells Fargo, you're borrowing money from them because they've cheated your neighborhood, your community in the past. So just to be aware of that. That's all.
And that's a good solution. Dig deeper. That comes back to educate yourself, right? Know what's going on, okay? Because like Cleon said, do I want to benefit from bad deeds? Absolutely not. Especially when note card, the Wells Fargo CEO, I'm sure many of in our listening audience, Charlie Scharf, said that the reason they lack Black employees at management levels and across his company is because of the limited talent pool. And I said, well, gee, Charlie, is it the lack of Black talent or is it your lack of talent? I mean, I'm confused. Let me know which one it is. And again, as I just said to all my other faker agents out here faking it until they make it and assimilating amongst the masses, that is an example of an unconscious bias. An unconscious bias. And oh, guess what? They were just speaking of unconscious biases today during our Northern Virginia Association of Realtors convention. Not me, not the realest realtor, not this proud and unapologetic Black woman in America, but a panel of white realtors, all of whom were making phenomenal points about why we all must check our unconscious biases, why they are mindful of their unconscious biases and they evaluate their professional practices to make sure that it is not impacting any client unfairly. So, but you want to tell me to watch what I say when they're having these courageous conversations all the time. Y'all keep on faking it till you make it. Don't try to come over here with us over here, Cleon. Don't let them come, Cleon. Don't let them come. Don't come over here now because we've been out here fighting for our community for a minute through education. So yeah, so again, while all of you are so scared to say something, we're not afraid over here. You know why? We only bring you the facts. That's all we can work with because I don't know anything else. I can only bring you factual information. So those are important things to think about. And again, I think Shawn Rochester just did such a beautiful job outlining the actual dollar amounts, the financial impact that plays on or that causes Blacks. And he traced this from slavery, all the way to the present. So when you look at all of the deficits, all of the practices that many of which were law, that's why it's important to vote in local elections, to pay attention to who you're putting in these judge seats and into these, local offices, your state offices. This is why it's important. And on that note, you want to know who else is talking about what we talk about here on Realtors Roundtable? Well, looky here, Vice President Joe Biden, presidential candidate. Now, we here, I keep it very middle of the road. I don't talk about my political anything. I just talk about what others are speaking on in the news. So I happened to hear Joe, and I did go back and read the outline of his proposal for himself and Kamala Harris. Again, educate yourself. If you haven't read it, I encourage that you go and do that. Well, let me tell you, there were many areas that Joe spoke about that I found so very interesting. One of which was redlining. What? Redlining? You mean that really exists? Oh, you mean like the devaluing of Black neighborhoods, like in the Brookings Institute article that we brought to you courtesy of Cleon Smith, realtor extraordinaire? Why, yes, he was talking about it. But you know who else was talking about it? Another forum at our association's convention. The same people who keep saying to me, oh, you shouldn't say these things. You shouldn't put this knowledge out there, Carmellita. Why? They're talking about it, but we shouldn't be? You big dummies. I'm sorry, Cleon. I'm sorry. But anyway, so he was talking in his interview about the fact that, and I'm not going to play the clip because YouTube will put me in YouTube jail, but you can definitely find it. Actually, he was on the Steve Harvey show when I heard him speaking, and he was making the point. This is a scenario he gave Cleon. He said that if Steve Harvey purchased a home, the exact same home, right, in one neighborhood, and he purchased a home across the tracks in another neighborhood, automatically his home is going to have more value than the home purchased by Steve Harvey. And he said the reason for that is exactly what we know from this Brookings article, is that black neighborhoods are assessed at a lower value as compared to white neighborhoods of the same makeup.
And just to add to going back to the Black Tax book, there is a study in there where the moment a neighborhood becomes 10% or more Black, there is a gap start to open up with the appraised value. So you actually will see, again, we talk about in real estate comparables, comparable homes, we call them comps, that's for short. Comps, that the moment a neighborhood becomes quote unquote 10% or more Black, there starts to be a gap in your appraised value. Why is that important? The value of your home is where we hold our net worth,
Our
right?
net worth,
That's
yes.
where we hold that's what we can pass on. That's what we can use. We talk about that in other sessions. That's the foundation of wealth building. So if your home, if you own a home in a neighborhood that is start to, be more diverse or become more specifically more Black,
Yes.
then your home price, your home values will start to be affected. And I just want to do one quick quote from the
Yes.
book that I'm
Go
going
right
to read
ahead.
because it was shocking and it shouldn't be, but I'm going to read it. So on page 21, since
Okay.
1970, only 2% of white Americans have moved from predominantly white neighborhoods to
Yep.
predominantly Black neighborhoods. I'm going to repeat that.
Yes.
Since 1970, so this is what, 6 years after the 1964
For
Civil Rights Act.
yes.
Since 1970, only 2% of white Americans have moved from predominantly white neighborhoods to predominantly Black neighborhoods. Why is that
Yes.
important? Because we know that Black neighborhoods are undervalued.
Yes.
So it just goes to what we were saying before of the undervalue of assets in the Black community. Welcome, Craig.
Hey, Craig, what's up? Our realtor about town. I told the audience we would have another guest joining us. And Craig, I'm gonna catch you up in just a second. Cleon, I want to add on to what you're saying there, because, like I said, Cleon was the one that bought the Brookings research to us initially, and so we've really been pushing that information. So thank you for that, Cleon. And on top of that, let me tell you what else Vice President Biden echoed, which you can also find in this Brookings report. He said that automatically white home values are valued at 30% more than Black homes. And he said the biggest problem with that is, as Cleon said, your home, that is the building foundation of your wealth. He said that the middle class, that is how they accumulate their wealth due to the equity in their homes. That's how they send their children to college. That's how they get, funding to do for their businesses. That is how they do it. So when we're out here saying to you, you need to own more doors, I guess you might want to listen, because we are only giving you the facts. And like I said, for every realtor out there who claim, oh, I'm going to be your mentor, I'm going to show you the way. Guess what? Miss me with that. Unfollow me now. Because for everyone who kept saying, oh, you really shouldn't put this information out there, goodbye. Craig, we're leaving it all on the floor today. I showed up with no cards, so I'm sure this will either be the end of my career or the start of a beautiful thing. So,
Oh, well.
So yes, so I don't care how you doing, brother. I know you had a meeting. Let me tell you something. When I tell you these are real realtors in front of you, we're not the fake ones. We're not the ones out there who are all bougie, who just want to be cute. No, we are cute though. However,
Great.
however, we show up with real information, real facts, real statistics. We steer you to real books. We are here to educate you and get you into doors. Period. So
Mhm.
if that's what you need, that's what you find here. If that's not what you need, go find one of them because we are who we are. How you doing, Craig?
I'm always good. How you doing?
We're glad to see
Hey, Cleon,
you.
how you
Hey,
doing,
Greg,
brother?
nice to see you, buddy.
Nice to
And
see you
folks,
too.
make sure you're giving us that thumbs up. Make sure that you're sharing because, again, this might be information that others need to hear. And we definitely show up to help. And we are accessible now, but very soon you may
Right,
not have
right.
that readily
Catch us
access
when we
to us.
cheat. We cheat.
Get us
Catch
when
us
we
when we.
cheap, buddy. Get us when we
Yeah.
cheap.
No taxes. You're right.
Because the big things happen behind the scenes and y'all don't even know. But that's okay. It's good. And we thank you all for your support because you help us with those big things happening. Let me tell you something else. I was saying, Craig, I was sharing with Cleon, there's so many of the things that we've been talking about here on the Realtors Roundtable, things that I talk about on the podcast. I've been hearing those same sentiments and information being echoed. I think I shared with you we're having our INVAR conference this week, and many of our colleagues in the industry, our white colleagues, are having these same courageous conversations. And so I have just grown tired of those black agents who feel like it's not okay to say, I really serve black people. It doesn't mean I don't serve everyone, but that's my group. That's who I look to support. That's who I want to help get into more doors. But what I'm going to say to black consumers, I got a note card for y'all too. How about that? I bought a note card for everybody today.
Okay.
What I will say to black people who are looking to become future homeowners, future owners of properties that will continually generate wealth for you, align yourself with the right folks. Align yourself with the right folks. Be mindful of who you are seeking because all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Right.
All right. So when we show up here to give you, listen, Cleon, Craig, these guys are brainiacs. I mean, they have so much knowledge. And when we come together, it's like Wonder Twin powers activate, right? And so we want to give you knowledge to empower you. So I'm going to say it very clearly so that no one misunderstands what I'm saying. If you are a black future homeowner, seek a black realtor. That's it for that note card.
Oh
Any
my God.
comments? Any
And we're
comments?
leaving it on the floor.
Leave it on the floor, boo.
There you
Leave it on the
go.
floor.
Yeah, you
That's
know.
it for that note card. I don't have anything else to say. But I will tell you what Vice President Biden went on to say. He also
Well,
talked
well,
about.
I actually have
Oh,
something
go
to
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry. Let me
add.
mute myself.
Speaking about being proud to say working with your community, your black community, I had a meeting not too long ago with a tech company, and the owner was a Filipino guy, and throughout the entire conversation, he was saying he was like praising how the Filipino community was the top immigrant in this. We're doing so much with that, and it wasn't even a second thought to say, "Hey, if even if he even said even if you have Filipino, we gonna take care of you." And so what I found, and I understand why it is, but what I found is our community is very timid to be proud in that, at least from what I've seen, worrying about the what do you call it, the pushback of why you got to say that, and it's like, nah, brother, it's like it
Hmm.
is what it is. But you
Why
have to
shouldn't I
understand
say
the
that?
history, right? And you have to understand the history though, because a joker gonna press you out if you proud to be black and say, so why do you do it? You got to be like, well, everybody does it. Everybody does it. And some people aren't as direct. For
Hmm.
example, this society. I have a quick story, and then I'll pass it on to you about the Biden. I had conversation with my son the other day. He's 8 years old. So we're driving on Georgia Avenue, which is in DC, and there's a lot of cops around. And he says, Craig, he calls me Craig, but he says, Craig, why's all these police around? No, I asked him, I said, why are all these police around? I think he asked me. And he said, well, it's probably because it's burglars. Keep straight. And hold on, where those cars are coming in, you're going to make a left. All those cars, you're going to make a left. So he said, well, it's burglars. Or I said it's burglars. And for me, I'm trying to see where his mind is at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I say, so what color clothes do these people have, these burglars? He says black clothes. I said, okay. I said, now what color are these burglars? Are they white, yellow, green? He said, and we're gonna keep straight in park right there. He said, they're black. The color is black. So the society and what he's seeing on TV at an 8-year-old mind has told him when it comes to burglars, criminals, they're black. They're from the clothes to their skin. And so this is why you have to be very conscious on being proud and understanding why we have to self-promote. Because if we leave it to its own devices, the system and everything like that, our baby, an 8-year-old, I didn't prompt him. He's going to think that a black is associated with bad. So be proud of your community.
Absolutely.
And Craig, all of this social science research that bears what you just said out. They've done studies in babies. They've given them colored dolls and all of this, and it's society because we condition. It's unconscious bias. It starts early. We condition to say this is good, this is bad. So what you just said is borne out in all the data that is out there.
Absolutely. Yep. I tell you, and that's why I'm not going to ever change who I am. Ask my mom about it. She's watching now. Hey, mom. So another thing that Biden talked about was a down payment program for first-time Black home buyers. And he said it's necessary because here again, as we've seen in the Black tax, the playing field is not level. That we have been placed at such of a deficit just from the accumulation of wealth we've lost through the Black tax that there have to be real remedies. There have to be real remedies. And I know when people say, oh, cut the check, we need reparations. Okay, well, what does that look like? Where does that need to happen? I want to know where you're placing that money. He talked about a $15,000 guarantee, so that they can have the worry of coming up with a down payment. Because I think both Craig and Cleon, you both would agree that many times for folks, there are two top things that they're concerned about when purchasing doors: credit and a down payment. So I like to hear what people are offering. Just my 2 cents, but I thought that was good to hear. What I don't like people talking about it. I want people to be about it. So when people offer things like that, I want to see it. He also talked about, which that I'm going to save that for a whole nother show, but he was talking about how to fund Black communities and Black businesses because I was listening actually to Lawrence Watkins on the Black Financial Channel. He's been doing these wonderful articles every day, the Financial Juneteenth 5. And one of the articles, they talked about how Black business owners, and we are Black business owners, even though we're independent contractors, we're Black business owners. We are over mentored and underfunded. I can't tell you how many mentors I've had in the course of coming into real estate, all of whom were paid off of my deals or got a cut of my work or what I did, but yet there was no money flowing back to me. There was just a whole bunch of mentoring going on, right? And so again, when you talk about a remedy or the impact of that Black tax, that's another example. I don't need to be over mentored and underfunded. I need a little bit of both. I need some mentor, but I'm 11 years in now. And let me tell you, I've learned a lot from the school of hard knocks because people that say they're in your corner, they're definitely not. But I do want to say something to the lenders out there. I got a note card for y'all too. So for the lenders out there, and we're gonna have to get a lender on. So let me say, I have had several lenders, and I know Cleon has introduced me to some wonderful lenders. I have wonderful lenders that have come on my podcast. They've spoken to my students in my class, so I thank you for that. To all of you other lenders who I've put on, I'm gonna say it again, who I put on in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'm speaking to you directly, leaving it on the floor. Lose my number. Because what we need our lenders to do, number one, stop pushing subprime products just because that's what your company wants you to push. Okay. And as a matter of fact, as you lose my number, I want you to rest on this every night. I'm coming for you too. Because the same way you haven't sent an ounce of business my way, I'm going to make sure not an ounce of business comes your way as long as you're pushing that subprime garbage off on clients that look like me. I'm coming for you. Lose my number. Also, in my nicer voice, definitely try to bank black. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to, as Cleon said earlier, we've said this all the time. Make sure you're doing your research. Get yourself in the strongest credit position possible. But bank black when you can. You don't have to. We're not saying you can't get a mortgage from your credit union or a mortgage from Wells Fargo. We're not saying that. But we're saying seek those people who will have your best interests at heart. And let me remind you again, all skin folk ain't kin folk. So it's a lot of lenders out here that might look like me. They don't have your best interests at heart. And for those that I'm speaking to directly, that's the end of that no card for you. Any comments, Cleon? Gentlemen.
We are leaving it on the floor today.
I'm leaving it on the floor today because you know what? I have learned I'm being more mindful. So people who have eaten off of me for years and have not put a thing on my plate, done with them. Especially people who are not doing what's best for my community. They know who they are.
I would
Go
just
ahead,
say,
Cleon.
we were in a session earlier and they were talking about mindfulness and the idea of being on purpose. You know, that mean that being that that's being said to mean, when you are out, whether that's a financial decision you're about to make or a conversation you're having, be on purpose. Be about making sure that you are representing you're putting your best foot forward. You're putting your best interests forward, and those who you're dealing with have your best interests at heart. And that's kind of goes to the idea of being on purpose.
You have to be on purpose. I'm going to tell you what I liked from the mindfulness session too, Cleon, when he said, "Are we spending time with the right people?"
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Are we spending time? I know I'm spending time with the right people now. I love these guys. I love the people I spend time with. I will be the first one to say I have spent time with a lot of people that were not worth my energy and they were not aligned with where I'm going. And they don't, and Cleon, they don't practice business the way we practice business.
Sure.
We work hard to be ethical and honest. They work hard to close a transaction. I said what I said. Now, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Craig, did you listen? I'm tearing up note cards, Craig, leaving it on the floor, buddy.
All right, my dad, I appreciate you. I love you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry for you guys.
No, I
I've been
know you're
going in
always
and out.
out and about.
I'm getting my car switched out and everything. But to that point, I want to be able to tell people that one of the biggest protectors and ways to really vet the people in your circle. And I'll tell them you can use this for your professional life, your personal life, is you can't make excuses for bad behavior, right? And so what that means is if you're dealing with any bank, realtor, your wife, kids, anything, if you feel something, you say something, right? And so what I typically do is I try to lay the foundation, whether it's my friends, my colleagues, my family. I say, look, you have to tell me what I do, because that's the only way I can change it. There's so many times that we get in a situation where you're talking to a professional and we feel something, but we feel like it might mess up a deal, okay? But we go along with it, don't say nothing, go through with the deal, and then be mad at the person when we should be mad at ourselves, because we should have said, hey man, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? No deal is better than a bad deal. And so you always want to make sure that you're speaking your mind, which, comes from educating yourself and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I really want
Absolutely.
people, when we're talking about, how do I say, cultivating a good group of people, whether that's professional, family, or whatever, we have to be transparent and know what we want and be able to set a precedence of consistent transparency. That's all I really wanted to say about that.
Well, Craig, I would have thought you were in the session with Cleon and I this afternoon, because one of the things that Jeff Wu, and I'm going to shout him out, Jeff Wu, thank you, sir. He's a realtor and he's a mindfulness coach. He
Mm-hmm.
said you have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. And that is part of that mindfulness, being grateful for things, making space to really give yourself time to think and to walk and to move, so that you can say to yourself, yeah, I have a great group of folks, or no, I'm not doing business with good people. Like, you've got to start weeding people out and doing those things. And I like what you said, Craig. Don't get mad if you didn't say anything. I put it in the chat. If you feel something, say something. If you feel something, say something. And that's very, very important. So I feel something right now, and I'm going to make this last statement, and I'll let you gentlemen close it out. One last note card to rip up. So now I'm speaking directly to realtors. Okay. All right. So if you are a realtor,
Here we go.
here we go, that looks like me, right? And there are many of you, many of whom I've been in, groups with and done business with and things of that nature. But if you're not spending your time not only with the right people but with the right mindset, lose my number,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm over realtors who are afraid to be proud of being Black.
Mm.
I am proud of it. I am good at what I do. I am probably, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but yes, I am. I'm probably more educated than most. I'm not talking degrees. I'm not talking degrees. I'm talking about reading books and talking to smart people like you guys, and getting out here boots on the ground to see what really impacts clients, really talking to people to see what type of help do you need, what can we do to help you. Those are the things that I do. I don't show up for the mixers, and Craig gets on me about this all the time. I don't show up for the mixers. I don't do all the fake networking, because you know what? I don't have that type of time. And after I heard Jeff Wu today, I shouldn't be spending time doing all that, because that falls in quadrant number 4. And if you are a realtor who educates yourself, you might know what Q4 is. And you might even know that you should be in Q2 more than you're in Q4. And if you don't know, that means you shouldn't be in my circle. Lose my number. I'm leaving it on the
And if you
floor,
don't know,
baby.
now you know.
There
Leave it
you
on the
go.
court. We
I'm leaving it
yeah.
on the
I,
floor,
I I
baby.
used to play football, right? And we for things like what you just did, we said she left it all on the field. She left it on the field.
Think
She
I
ain't got
did
no
when I
regrets.
did? No, zero regrets. Zero regrets, because I have the baddest circle. Listen, I rock with the baddest people in the industry. Zero regrets. I'm not gonna miss none of y'all Bamas that unfollow me. Now, how about that?
Do
I'm
you
sorry,
know? Do
gentlemen.
you?
Would you like to
Do you
say something?
yeah, of course. I got you, because I'm gonna throw it to the alley oop, another alley oop. Um, Kind of going back to what I was saying, the best way, and I told you this too, Carmellita, the best way to really make sure you're around the good people is being brutally honest. I'm talking about brutally honest, because what's going to happen is people that are confident, that know their worth, aren't going to shy away from your honesty. It's the people that are and again, I'm not judging because everybody has seasons of understanding. But as far as really pruning and cultivating that circle, if you're honest and saying, look, no, I'm not having that, or hey, why do you do this? I think we should do this to really go better, right? And not worried about people's feelings. You're going to not only protect yourself, you're going to start looking like a leader. And people are going to want to take your advice and move to your tune because most people, believe it or not, are very insecure and don't really go after what they want. And so if you
I
really want
agree.
to test, if you really want to test the people around you, start being honest. Start
Yes.
saying people breath stink.
You
Hey man, go ahead, man.
sell
You
it.
stink a little.
You stupid, Craig.
I'm
We
telling
are
you.
we are
Oh,
all leaving it on the floor today.
we're all leaving it. Go ahead, Cleon.
And Craig, I couldn't agree more. You know, you gotta you gotta say no to get to yes. You know, you gotta say no.
And you know
And the
what,
way you
guys?
say, and then the way you say no, and this is where people really get mad at me, is you gotta put in the work.
Yes.
When you put in the
Yes.
work, you like for example, I'll give you an example, right? Um, so during my academic career, starting out, I didn't take it real serious. I wasn't like an idiot, but I did take it really serious. You know, cheated here and there, or whatever. And so I got all the way to my master's program. Right, I earned my way into that, and it was a time where we had to really study because I got my master's in human resource development. Right, and so I never really took studying seriously. But in the master's program, I went to Bowie State. You could, it's so much work you couldn't just wing it, right? So I committed myself. I studied and studied, and I'm not this person, but we had a test, right? And a person that didn't study as hard as I did started looking on my test, and I found myself like trying to cover my test, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even like that. But it told me when you really work hard for something, you're gonna speak up. You're going to say, hey man, nah, man, you ain't gonna get any free lunch here. And so what I try to tell people is you have to not only put in the work, but you have to really do a lot of self-analysis on what you want. And when you understand how valuable you are, know and getting what you want is going to come so natural that you're going to weed out people that can't hang with you.
Facts. That's facts. And I love both of you, Cleon Smith, Craig Gilbeaux Jr. Thank you for showing up this last Realtors Roundtable in September, where we left it all on the floor. So don't ever tell us that we didn't tell you the truth, because that's all that we have over here is the truth. And that's all that we bring. Listen, for the month of October, we're gonna be rolling out some more segments, doing more things to bring more
Mm-hmm.
info. I know, bring more information, because guess what? And here's the thing too: information in this industry changes every day, literally every day. And it is so important that we are spending the time doing the things that we're doing. Like Cleon and I have been going to all these different sessions. Craig is frequently out and about. Actually, I know your meeting ran over today.
Mm-hmm.
We're out here every day. We do business together. We bounce ideas off of each other. Like, this is important stuff to do. And make sure that you are connecting with us as well. Our contact information will be in the description of this video. I don't care who you reach out to, but reach out to someone who can help you educate yourself in areas that you need, whether it's Cleon and I are primarily residential, Virginia, Maryland. Craig is Virginia, Maryland, DC. However, Craig brings his expertise in the area of investing that we have started to delve into a great deal more. This is one stop shopping here, folks. So there's not like you cannot get everything that you need here. Because the one thing that we need all of you to understand, and I cried last week because I started this movement years ago. And many of my haters who probably unfollowed me today, they wouldn't want to acknowledge it. But that's the thing I love about social media. You can go back and look at my social media and see where I started the Own Your Own movement, the OYO, that OYO life, right? And when I opened up The Color of Law by Rothstein that I had referenced earlier in the month, he has a chapter in there and it's called Own Your Own Houses. I
Mm.
said, look at my God, just validating for me that all of my hard work is not in vain. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has been the best birthday month ever. Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. You all have made this wonderful. And guys, listen, we're not going far. Don't worry. We're gonna regroup, get it together, and come back for more because look, we're warriors. We are in it for the long haul, and we are definitely scaling up to help more people and to bless more people. So listen, from Carmellita Turner, the realest realtor Cleon Smith, Craig Gilbeaux Jr., we thank you for joining us here on our channel called Carmellita. Please make sure that you're subscribing to this channel and tell your friends to come over and follow us as well. Starting in October, drum roll, we'll be
No.
posting 2 videos every week. What did she say?
Well.
She said 2 videos every week. So make sure that you're following us. Ring that notification bell so that you'll know when we're live or uploading content so that you will not miss a thing that we are bringing here on this channel. And from myself to you, we leave you in the manner in which we found you, and that is in peace, folks. Thank you so much for being here with us.